Well, it's gameplay, but gameplay is very hard to define without talking about how good the sound is these days. If the sound's absolutely terrible, it won't play well. Sound tells you when your feet hit the ground if you're jumping. Sound tells you when you've gotten something right or wrong in Guitar Hero. So sound design in Guitar Hero is the gameplay to a certain extent. But it's an interactive media. At the end of the day, the only reason people pick games up is to enjoy themselves interactively. If all you are is a story, I don't think that makes a good video game. It may make a great movie or book, but it doesn't make a great video game. So yes, it is gameplay, and again, it's very hard to define exactly what gameplay is. It's different in different games.
Yeah, he's peace, so.
He does
thank you for answering that, so.
No problem.
We do have another caller if you guys want to keep
Fire
it rolling.
out.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey,
Hello, head
up?
jobber.
Not much.
Hey, I have 2 questions for Jason.
Hold on. Fat Baby, this is actually Fat Baby. He's like one of the show's #1 fans, and he is just in love with you. So
Yeah,
he has been messaging me
Sweet.
for the past week going, yes. So go ahead.
These are going to be good questions that I'm going to sit up.
Okay. Well, the first question is, how different is it from creating a video game to a comic book?
Okay. Oh.
And the second question is, I'll give you both questions. And
No
the second question is, how does it feel to be the character model for Nathan Drake?
Okay, I'll answer in reverse order. I am not the character model
That is
for
fucking awesome.
I want to be very clear. I was not even.
Bullshit.
I was not even in the building when the character was designed.
It's just like epiphany. Oh my God.
It is 100% Evan Wells. Get him on the show, and I promise you, it is him. He's the director now at Naughty Dog. He's running the show there. It is him.
Do you bear resemblance to him then? Or he's your twin brother?
I have dark hair and wear jeans. I guess that's where the connection ends. But so I'll be playing myself, I guess, is what you're saying when I pick it up. And what was the first question? I've now forgotten it. I'm sorry.
What's it like to go from creating a video game to a comic book?
Absolutely. Similar and different. Creating worlds is creating worlds. I fundamentally believe that. If you can create a good game world, you can probably create a good story for a movie. A good world is a good world. Having said that, working in a comic book these days is still a very hands-on, very old-school system. I mean, I would talk to the artist, the penciler, Francis Manipul or Joel Gomez, depending on whether it was foreground or background. He would take up his pencil, he would draw. When he was done with his drawing, he would put it in FedEx and send it to the other penciler, who would then, everything was done like it would have been done 30 years ago. There's no technology at all going on in comic books. So, and it was a small team,
awesome.
so it felt a lot like making Crash Bandicoot, which was an 8-person team, because we more or less had 8 people working on the comic book. It's very slow because of the fact that it's one-person drawing. So it's different in that sense. Whereas games are 80 people now working on technology. Everything's right cutting edge. You ask for something, hopefully you get it back quickly. It's a very different world. A lot more pressure, a lot more stress, a lot more coming at you. But overall, creating worlds is creating worlds. I enjoyed both of them. Neither one would I say was better.
And there he is behind us
right.
now.
There's Jason right there.
There's a pretty good resemblance, but we'll have to.
What kind of gun do you normally roll with there?
I don't think so. Here, let's see.
All right, so Jason,
actually, that is my. No, I'm just.
Jason, you're pretty or at least you were in 2004, at least very outspoken about the industry. What are some of the things that you see, are really positive about the industry that you would like to see get more focus, that maybe isn't getting the focus in the media? Like the media seems to be picking up all the negative stuff. What is it about the industry that actually excites you, that that makes you proud to be sort of a member of the club, so to speak?
Oh, there are tons of things that I think are positive in the industry. The first thing I'd say actually is if we are going to be credited as an industry with teaching people how to enter high schools and shoot with guns because of first-person shooters, I want credit for teaching kids how to drive from our driving games, fighter pilots how to fly, people how to fight. I mean, the idea, or better football players. The NFL should have improved 100-fold because these guys would have learned on Madden, right?
Right.
But, whatever. I think there's a lot of things to be proud about in the game industry. We give a lot of people a lot of enjoyment, a lot of entertainment. Any game show you go to, there are people of all walks of life, all types of people. It's very inclusive. The game industry, I think overall, is an extremely positive industry. And yes, any industry is going to have a little bit of dark side somewhere, but I think overall the game industry has shown itself to be very pure. And we're the whipping boy of the moment. It was Elvis Presley when I was growing up. I love heavy metal, still do. That's had its moment, right? Everything had its moment.
I totally agree with you. But what's next? That's the problem. That's what always
well,
scares
actually,
me. Is
I'll
like,
tell you what
is
it is.
the next
You can
whipping
always
boy?
tell what's next because
social
I'm working
networking?
in social networking,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
So I've been working with social networking,
you're
and they're
probably
getting a
right.
huge amount of very unfair, negative publicity. And actually, I think more than the game industry has. And I think, unfortunately for them, maybe fortunately for the game industry, the world's kind of headed there right now.
All right, we got another caller.
We do.
Caller.
So we.
Yo, what's up? You got a question?
What's up, dogs?
What's up?
Yeah, actually, I'm really a big fan of like Crash and stuff and Crash Bandicoot.
Thanks, man.
And like, actually, this was my first game for my console I've ever owned.
He's got it
that's
right
old
there.
school.
PS1 right here.
Wow.
I can see you bought it at discount though, because that was the greatest hits packaging there. So you got it for $19.95. So
He played it so much, he had to buy a new copy though.
I have
Did you buy your
125% on this.
You probably bought your system in '97 or Christmas '96. Is that correct?
Actually, no. I bought a PS1.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not sure when it was, but I don't know. It was a long
whatever.
time ago.
Okay.
You got a question, buddy?
Yeah. Actually, no. Like,
You just wanted to show the game.
How great do you think the success of this game was?
Which game are we looking at?
Crash, I guess. Or you know what? Someone in Stickum actually asked, why was the game so popular in Japan? Like, why Japan of all
Yeah,
places?
that has got to be the hardest question to answer, and I can tell you a lot of reasons. Well, interestingly, when we first showed Crash to Sony Japan, they looked at the character and they said, "This will never work. This character will never work." And I said, "Well, what's wrong with it?" And they couldn't really explain what it was. So I was kind of getting a vibe. So I went out to Charlotte, who was one of our artists, and I said, "Okay, I want you to do a really quick mock-up. Close his mouth." He had this huge grin in the picture. Make his eyes a little black Pac-Man. Take away the color and the boom, and kind of tone him down a little. And she did it, and we brought it in, and they said that'll work. So there was a slightly different Crash in Japan than there was in the United States. We did a lot of work on the game to actually work for the Japanese market. Aku Aku, which was the witch doctor, he would come out and give you hints because they thought the Japanese market, for whatever reason, our Japanese producers thought they needed more hints, maybe because we were explaining things in a Western way, and maybe they needed a little bit of extra coaching. I remember specifically there was a death where Crash got smashed, and he was walking around, his head kind of got crushed in his shoes.
I remember that one.
That was not allowed in the Japanese version because at that time there had been a horrible spree of killings. And they were leaving kids at the front of schoolyards with their shoes and their heads on it. No joke. And so we really tailored the game to what the Japanese market would and wouldn't like, and we had the best marketing team, I will say, I've ever had in the game industry in Japan, and they took the character, which again, it's a Western character created by a guy that grew up in the United States. It's guys that grew up in the United States, not a Japanese character, and they did a campaign of making that character friendly for Japan that was absolutely incredible. Wow. The ads were incredible. The stuff they did, I still watch it and I enjoy it. It was really good.
Was anything done with Jak and Daxter? Because I know recently in Ratchet and Clank they just did a makeover for the new one for the PS3 too.
Right.
They're very subtle differences. Like I was joking about the eyebrows, but they turned his eyebrows black and gave him green shorts instead of orange shorts.
Well, here's my personal opinion on Jak and Daxter is that we, and by we I mainly mean I, made a mistake in directing that title to be too broad for too many audiences. Crash was designed as we thought Crash should be, and then tweaked for other territories.
Gotcha.
Jak was a mishmash of a lot of ideas from a lot of people as we were creating the character. And at the end of the day, I don't think he looked like a great Western character. I don't think he was a great Japanese character. There were things we did for the European market that I don't think were great. There were things we did actually for Saudi Arabia and other markets like that might have hurt it. I think that character was a little too much of the kitchen sink.
Right.
Whereas I think Crash was a little more pure, a vision, and I wouldn't make that mistake again.
Gotcha.
And that was my fault. That was actually my suggestion.
So what
to
exactly
do
are
that.
your favorite kind of games? Are they platformers? Are they, is that why you made platform style games? Were those always your kind of games?
Well, first of all, it's changed over time. Before Doom, first-person shooters, not a big favorite of mine. After Doom, always been a big favorite of mine. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite genre. It really goes game by game. I mean, that's the best answer I can give. I get addicted to the most ridiculous things in the don't like that genre, play one game, it's a great game, and I get addicted to it. So I don't really have a favorite genre. I was never a big driving fan, but I don't remember which Need for Speed it was, but it was one of the more recent ones on the, not that recent, but a PS2 one. Just took me, and I played the whole thing start to end, right? And I just don't know what it is. It's just some things do that.
I've actually got a great follow-up question for that, but let's take a caller first. Caller, thank you for being patient. You got a question for Jason?
Yeah. What game do you think... Wait, that's not my question. Never mind.
That was for another show he's calling into.
The answer is 6.
Yeah. Do you believe that games will take over the world?
as like a menacing monster,
or what the hell?
As like a mind control device?
I don't actually, and I can answer that. I don't think games take over the world. That's why I didn't want to say that is the game industry going to be the strongest entertainment medium. Sometimes I like to go home and turn on a movie or turn on the TV and veg out and
Blu-ray
just watch.
Specifically,
right? Yeah, Blu-ray player. I just got Ratatouille. I watched Ratatouille like
Blu-ray
1,000 times. I'm in awe
show.
of the CG on that thing, right?
It's awesome.
And sometimes I don't want to be interacting. So will the game industry wipe out television? And no, of course not. And it'll have new challenges. The game industry is challenged by social networking. People are spending a huge amount of time on Facebook. Facebook, in essence, is a social game. It's a huge social game. Same with MySpace. And you get addicted to it. You have to check. You have to, where am I right now? I have to update my Facebook profile and say what I'm doing, and I do it now for my BlackBerry, so I do it live on the road. It's taking some of my time. That's time that I don't play with games. So